Hi everyone! In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make the Polka Dot Face Pad. To make this face pad, you're going to need approximately 20 yards of any cotton yarn. I am using We Crochet Dishy yarn, which is a worsted weight 100% cotton yarn in the color Honeydew. I'm also using a 4mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and a yarn needle. So we're going to make a magic ring. So what we're going to do is, with our index and middle finger held together, we're going to grip the yarn with our thumb, and we're going to wrap the yarn around our index and middle finger to make an X on the bottom and 2 loops at the top. With our hook, we're going to insert our hook underneath that first loop and grab that second loop with our hook and pull it underneath that first loop. Twist it towards yourself, pull it off your fingers, and we are going to secure it with a chain 2. Now we're going to make 12 double crochets into this magic ring. So the way to do that is yarn over, insert your hook into the ring, yarn over, draw up a loop, so we have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through the last 2 loops. So we are going to do this 12 times. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So before we continue, we're just going to give everything a quick count. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And now we're going to take our yarn tail and we're going to pull it tight, and this closes up our magic ring. So to finish off the round, we are going to insert our hook into that first double crochet, and we're going to make a slip stitch. So yarn over, pull it through that stitch and through the loop on our hook. To start round 2, we are going to chain 2, and we are going to make 2 double crochets into that first stitch. So work 2 double crochets right into that first stitch, and we're going to do that in every stitch around. So in every single stitch around, we're going to work 2 double crochets. So at the end of round 2, we should have a total of 24 double crochets. We've just finished making 2 double crochets into our last stitch of the round. So what we're going to do is insert our hook into that first stitch of round 2, and we're going to make a slip stitch to close the round. So this is what it should be looking like. Definitely do a quick count to make sure that you do have 24 double crochets. For round 3, this is the only round we're going to do this for. We're going to turn our work so that we're working on the back side or the wrong side, and we are going to chain 1 to start. Into this first stitch, we're going to make 2 single crochets. Into the next stitch, we're going to make a puff stitch. So the way to do this is yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, and draw up a loop. So we have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to do the exact same thing. So yarn over, insert our hook into that same stitch, yarn over, and draw up a loop. This time we have 5 loops on our hook. We're going to do that once more. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, and draw up a loop. So we should have 7 loops on our hook. So what we're going to do is yarn over and pull through just the first 6 loops. So not this one back here. Now we have 2 loops remaining. So we're going to yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And that closes off the puff stitch. So into that next stitch, we're going to make 2 single crochets. I'm going to show you guys what happens. So on the wrong side, we can't really see the puff stitch, but if we turn our work to the right side, it pops right out, which is exactly what we want. Into the next stitch, we're going to make a puff stitch. And into the next stitch, 2 single crochets. So we are going to do that all the way around. So we should have a total of 12 puff stitches and 24 single crochets because we're working 2 single crochets in every other stitch. This is a total of 36 stitches for round 3. Alright guys, we are at our last stitch of round 3. So in this stitch, we're going to make a puff stitch, and we should always end round 3 with a puff stitch. So we are now going to insert our hook into the first single crochet of the round and make a slip stitch. And now give everything a quick count. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 puff stitches, which is exactly what we want. Oh, also, at the end of round 3, we are going to turn our work so that we're back on the right side, and we're going to start round 4. So round 4, we're going to chain 1, and we are going to make 1 half double crochet into that first stitch. So this is the single crochet. Into the next stitch, this is the puff stitch. We're going to make 2 half double crochets. Into the next stitch, 1 half double crochet. Into the next stitch, 1 half double crochet. So wherever we see a single crochet, we're going to place 1 half double crochet. And wherever we see a puff stitch, we're going to place 2 half double crochets. So these are 2 single crochets, so we're going to make 1 half double crochet in each stitch. We've arrived at our puff stitch, so we're going to make 2 half double crochets into the single crochet, 1 half double crochet in each, and we're going to do this all the way around. We should have a total of 48 half double crochets at the end of round 4. So we've just placed 2 half double crochet in our last puff stitch, and now we are on to our last single crochet of the round. So we're going to make 1 half double crochet, and this lines up perfectly because at the beginning of our round we made 1 half double crochet into that first single crochet, followed by 2 half double crochets in the puff stitch. So insert your hook into that first stitch and make a slip stitch to join the round. Alright, we are on to round 5, which is our last round, and for this round we're going to be doing a round of slip stitches. So in every stitch around, we're going to make a slip stitch, and try to make these fairly loose, not too tight, because if they are too tight, then you're going to notice that your face pad or your dish scrubby is gonna curl in on itself. And we want to try to make it lie flat as best as we can. Try to be consistent with your tension as much as possible, and give yourself a little bit of slack when you are holding your working yarn. We are approaching the end of round 3, so for this, if you guys would like to make things easier for you and figure out where you started so that you know exactly where to end, you can place a stitch marker into that first stitch of round 5, and then you'll know exactly where to stop. Alright, this is our last stitch of round 5 because we started in this stitch. So what we're going to do is turn our work towards ourselves, and if you guys notice this front and back loop this is from the half double crochets of round 4. So we're going to insert our hook and make a slip stitch, and this one can be tight, so we can pull it tight, and now we're going to fasten off. Pull this tight, and this is how you crochet the polka dot pad. So right now I'm just going to show you guys how to weave in your ends, not this one particularly. You guys can do this as you would weave in your ends normally. Just make sure that it is secure so that when you wash these or when you use them, they hold up over time and they don't unravel. The main thing that I want to talk about is the magic ring, because sometimes people just cut off their tail without weaving in this end, and it is very, very important to weave in your first yarn tail because the magic ring is not secure. This means that this magic ring was not secured with a knot when we started, like how we normally do with a slip knot when we make a chain circle. So what we're gonna have to do is weave in this end and secure it with a couple of knots. Grab your yarn needle and thread it with your working tail. And what we're gonna do is just grab this working tail and we're just going to tighten it as best as we can to close that magic ring. And now what I'm going to do is insert it into one of these back loops of the stitches, and I'm just going to make a little loop here, insert my needle underneath that loop and pull it tight, and this makes a knot. Pull it as tight as you can. So not only did it make a knot, but it closed off our magic ring. So right now I'm gonna go underneath, I'm gonna weave my end through a few stitches. I'm gonna do this a couple of times. And this is all, keep in mind guys, this is all done on the back side so that we will not be able to see it on the front. Alright, so I weaved it through a couple times. So now what I'm going to do to make sure it's extra secure, I'm just going to find a loop of the stitch or part of the stitch. I'm going to insert my yarn needle, make a small loop, and insert it back into that loop to make a knot. Now pull it tight, but not too tight. You don't want to distort your work. Okay, we've made a little knot here. Now we're gonna continue weaving. And at this point, guys, you can cut off your yarn tail and you have effectively weaved in that magic ring and secured it, so it should not come undone. If you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel. There is going to be a part 2 and a part 3 for the second and third face scrubby, so stay tuned for that. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.